Great. Yeah, so we're live. Daniel, welcome to our webinar, it's a joint webinar with Pepperl+Fuchs. I'm super curious to learn today about sensors, LoRaWAN sensors for premium sensors for industrial and smart city environments. My name is Felix Heins. I'm from the Things Industries. With me today is Daniel Möst from Pepperl+Fuchs. Before we dive into the presentation, let me just present a bit who are we as the Things Industries, give a bit of context of why we have invited Daniel today to do a shared webinar with us. Great. The Things Industries, we're a Dutch company. We aspire to build the world's best LoRaWAN network server and be the best in managing and hosting this server. You see here a few impressions from the Things Stack, which is our product. Everything evolves around this product. What we've learned, though, throughout the years is that, yes, we seen LoRaWAN as a young technology. It's been around for about 8 years now. It's been growing rapidly and it has developed. So in the beginning, we were very focused on technology and how to make the details of that technology work together with our partners and the ecosystem. And now we see that the market consolidates around use cases, business cases, which have shown that LoRaWAN as a technology is a great fit for. And that means also that the market revolves now around so-called product leaders. So instead of having a company doing multiple things good, we really see the rising stars, which are companies which do one thing and do one thing very, very well. Together with us, we see Pepperl+Fuchs as one part of it in the sensor space, and we are here today as the Things Industries from the LoRaWAN network server side. What we do is we do have the network server, but also we rely on this ecosystem, on the partners. So what we've done is we focused heavily in the last month on compiling lists of business cases. So LoRaWAN, yes, it's new, but we can see throughout the last years that there are certain business cases which are technically and commercially validated. And that also means that we can showcase that, and we can showcase that together with our partners. So you see here our business case collection. And if you, for example, looked into flood prevention, which unfortunately is a bit of a topic these days with the hot weather, they say, how does it work? What is the architecture around such a setup? And most importantly, who are the partners? We already see here the Wilson device, which is provided by Pepperl+Fuchs. So this is a great place to get started, learn about what niche and vertical you're in, and then who are the relevant partners, who are the product leaders to make the end-to-end solution work. But enough about us and other partners. Let's hear from Daniel and what he brought today. I'm very curious to learn about the sensor from Pepperl+Fuchs.
Yeah, thank you, Felix, for the invitation for today, and hello, everybody, from my side. My name is Daniel Möst. Just a few words about myself. I'm 30 years old. I'm working at Pepperl+Fuchs in Mannheim since 2018. I started there as a sales engineer, and since 2021, I'm working as a new business development manager. And I have the task to drive new business in Germany for wireless and vision sensors. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys already know Pepperl+Fuchs quite well. But I would love to give you some short overview about our company. So Pepperl+Fuchs is a large German sensor manufacturer based in Mannheim in the heart of Germany. And we have more than 7,000 employees all around the world. And we have more than 50,000 products in our portfolio, so really wide portfolio at this point. Last year, for the first time in our history, we achieved a revenue of more than 1 billion euro. But we are still a privately owned company, so the founder families are still owning the company. We are at the market for more than 77 years now, so large history. and more than 600 engineers are working for Pepperl+Fuchs. So there are several divisions at Pepperl+Fuchs actually. I'm working in the factory automation division. Here are some sensors that we have in our portfolio right now. So sensors like proximity sensors, photoelectric sensors, vision sensors, ultrasonic sensors, positioning systems, RFID systems, and all kind of industrial communication systems, as well as the connectivity. And yeah, so all of these sensors are wired sensors. So that's important to understand at this point. And this is what we are doing for more than, as I said, for more than 70 years. And yeah, today I would love to talk about LoRaWAN sensors. So how does that all started? We need to go back a little bit to the year 2014. And in this year, we received a request from the city of Barcelona in Spain. And at that time, Barcelona was looking for a smart waste solution. Means they were looking for battery-powered level sensors to measure the current fill level of their glass containers. And this data then was transmitted to the waste management company so they could plan routes for their waste trucks. And the goal was to prevent unnecessary trips and empty full containers more quickly.
Oh, amazing.
And yeah,
But that is 10 years ago, right? So we are actually predating LoRaWAN at this point, right? Or how was the development for this project?
yeah, that's true. So back at that time, we built together with partners, we built a prototype sensor, a battery-operated ultrasonic sensor that sends data via GSM. And we actually equipped 100 containers in Barcelona with that kind of prototype.
Awesome. And what led you then to change technology from 100 containers to maybe rolling out further and choosing LoRaWAN for them?
Yeah, that's a good question, Felix. We built a prototype back then with GSM, that's correct. But that was at that time a clear requirement from the city because at that time there was actually no LoRaWAN network and it was just a small number of sensors. However, the new Wilson sensor I would like to show you today, it of course has a LoRaWAN interface. For reason for that is that now it's very common. The technology is very common. A lot of cities are using LoRaWAN. A lot of companies are started to build up LoRaWAN networks, and so that's the technology we currently using for our IoT sensor here. Okay. So city of Barcelona, the project in Barcelona, that was actually the starting point for Pepperl+Fuchs. Yeah, we gained some first experience and afterwards we started to develop a real IoT sensor. And here on this slide, you can see how that development went. So we started from the left side. We took our special ultrasonic sensor, our ultrasonic transducer that's coated with PTFE protective film. And we housed that in a prototype. We add further functional modules like a battery, like GPS modules, like a LoRaWAN interface. And on the right side, you can see the final product that is available today. And yeah, I'm quite proud to show you that product today. You can see it here. Just 1 second. Just will use the laser pointer. So that's the product we have today available. You can see here's the ultrasonic transducer. It's a little box and it's actually a multi-sensor. So you're measuring several things by using the sensor. On one hand, of course, level information, distances, percentage level. Then we are measuring geoposition while using GPS, temperature and battery level. So that is what we can do by using just that sensor. And currently we have two sensor types in our portfolio. So one for distance measurement up to 2.5 meter and another one for distance measuring up to 4 meter. Furthermore, it's quite easy to open the sensor for replacing the battery. So that's kind of easy. I will just show you the battery here. So that's the battery we have installed in the sensor. And depending on the use of the sensor, battery lifetime of up to 10 years is actually possible. Another great thing about the sensor is the mobile device app. So we developed a mobile device app users can download for their mobile end device via Google Play Store or via App Store. And now you are able to connect your mobile device via Bluetooth with your Wilson sensor. For example, for network logging information, for sensor configuration, and for firmware updates. And yeah, I just would love to show you the Wilson app live. So give me 1 second. So you now can see my iPad. And I'm just opening up. So 1 second. So you can see the Wilson app. I'm just opening it. And now the app searches for all the LoRaWAN sensors that are around you. And here you can see several LoRaWAN sensors I'm currently using. And I'm just using that demo case sensor here, the 4-meter version, the 4000. And I'm able now to connect myself with that sensor by typing in a password. And now I'm able to connect myself. So the sensor is lying next to me on the desk. It looks up to the ceiling, and what you can see now is directly the live measurements of the sensor on your mobile device. So here you have the distances, the fill level in percentage, the GPS geo position, temperature, as well as the battery status. And that's pretty cool because it helps you a lot by installing the sensor, for example, because you can see directly what is the sensor measuring. So if I hold my hand above the sensor, it changes the distance. It changes it every 3 seconds. So you can see, okay, it works live. And what's cool now is that I'm able to also jump into I can dive into the settings. So here I can, for example, configure what means full, what means empty for having the correct percentage filling level. Or I'm able to actually adapt the sound beam. So I can change from wide, medium to small. So imagine you have a very tight installation situation. So this could lead to incorrect measurements, for example, due to misreflections. So setting the sound beam to medium small will solve actually the application. So that's pretty cool from my point. Or what's able is that you jump in the expert mode. You could use, for example, measurement sequences. Imagine you're measuring on an uneven surface, for example, floating water. If you would measure only once, then the probability of an incorrect measurement, of course, increases. And so by using this measurement sequences, you measure several times in a row, and you use just the average value. So here you can actually choose your measurement sequence or choose the intervals and so on and so on. So that's all possible by just using our app. What you also get by using the app is all the LoRa configs, so like the LoRa keys or the data transmission, the transmission interval, stuff like that below here. You can all choose that. You can all configure that however you want that. Okay, so that's just some quick introduction about the Wilson app. Just jumping back into the presentation slide. So, of course, the Wilson sensor is standardized, so it's suitable for any LoRaWAN network. So that's a pretty important fact, as well as the fact that the sensor is industrial suited. So that's something, of course, that our industrial customers are expecting from us. So they need robust housing, they need high IP protection class, like IP66, IP67. So that is, those are the things that our customers expect from us.
Yeah, awesome. No, I really like the fact that, yes, of course, like if you're in Barcelona, if you have a pilot with 100 devices, what do you want in the beginning? You want easy configurability. You want that at you buy basically in the infrastructure from a telecommunication provider to run the network for you. But then if you come into more dense installations where you have more sensors, maybe in a smaller space like a factory site, industrial sites you've mentioned, then yeah, it is way more cost effective and easier to not only own the entire installation, but also to use LoRaWAN as a technology. And we hear the cost efficiency argument quite a lot in the market because, of course, it's a big factor, especially if I have to buy all of it upfront. But if I look at battery life of 10 years, if I look at not having to pay the costs for SIM cards for some cellular backhauls or on a device level, that's great. So cost efficiency is something which is important in this space. And yet, Pepperl+Fuchs is some company coming in for 80 years or close to 80 years in premium sensors. You sell the device at a premium, so it is not the most cost-efficient device in the market. Why have you decided that you would enter such a market where cost efficiency is so important, and how are you successful with this premium sensor?
Yeah, Felix, that's actually a pretty good question at this point. So, as you said, so Pepperl+Fuchs sensors are installed in thousands of applications actually, and especially if customers are using our sensor who expecting high availability, reliability from our sensors. So, for example, in the chemical or automotive industry. And so this high quality has therefore always been part of the Pepperl+Fuchs DNA. So also the Wilson sensor is a highly qualitative product. And from my experience personally, you shouldn't only focus on the pure investment for the sensor. So you should consider the total cost of ownership at the end. So for example, how quickly do I get the sensor installed, right? So how quickly do I get qualitative measurement results? How often do I have to change the battery? So how many years will my sensor work, right? Or do I get any kind of support if I have problems? All these things are also pretty important in my calculation. And this is the approach we are following actually.
Yeah, that's perfect. No, I didn't exactly. It shows and underlines also the product leadership hypothesis again. It is actually the costs of the initial costs are, yes, they are important, but especially over a lifetime of 10 years, it is actually quite important to have every element of my end-to-end solution at a high quality. And I think, of course, this is something Pepperl+Fuchs had as a value as well. So I'm glad to see that also translate into the LoRaWAN product. By the way, for all the ones, everyone listening, there are chats available. So if you want, you can also send your questions, your comments. I'm reading and collecting all of those. If I get a chance, I will ask them throughout the presentation. If not, we will have some space towards the end of the session where I can pick up your questions and let's grill Daniel a little bit more on the details about their solution. But yeah, Daniel, sorry for interrupting. Please go on.
No problem.
Curious.
No problem. All right. Yeah, so I talked a lot now about what we are doing with the sensor, what is the sensor about, but I really would love to dive into the applications we are already installed in. I think that's the most important fact at this point. And we have several applications, several target markets we are selling the sensor in. And one, of course, are our smart city customers. So where the Wilson sensor enables intelligent disposal management, for example, so like in Barcelona. So the filling levels of used glass, old clothes, and recyclable containers are monitored then remotely so that the containers are only collected once, filled to a set amount. And this optimization reduces, of course, carbon dioxide emissions in long term, and it ensures environmentally friendly approach to disposal management. And what it should not look like, you can see on these pictures here. So those pictures are made in my hometown here in Mannheim. And it shows you, okay, something at this point, something went wrong. And exactly to avoid such pictures and such experiences, Our customer, the Badenova Netze GmbH from Freiburg, it's a city. Freiburg is a city in Germany. They installed level monitoring. They installed Wilson sensors in their class containers, in their underfloor containers, to do the level monitoring. So they installed 100 of those Wilson sensors. And I can show you here. So the sensors are mounted inside of the class containers at the top of the container. They are looking down, measuring the distance to the class. And of course, the big benefit for the disposal company is that the emptying of containers by their garbage trucks is according to the actual demand. So they expect to save 25% of the previous trips, and of course, reduction of costs and CO2 emissions. So here on the right picture, you can see how the garbage truck is actually emptying the class container. And in the middle picture, you can see how the filling level of one class container is slowly increasing over time, and then it drops due to the emptying. So this is the dashboard the customer is actually using. And if you are interested in getting a little bit more information, I can highly recommend this video to you, because here our customer talks about his motivation to start such a smart waste project and to use our Wilson sensor. So please feel free, scan the QR code or follow the link. It's a German, it's a YouTube video in German, but I think it gives you some quite nice first impression. Another project or another big target group we are facing with is the smart logistics. So where our sensor helps to determine the fill level of tanks, containers, silos, giving the supplier the opportunity to offer their customers a supply logistics system that is actually tailored to their needs. And this route optimization reduces as well carbon dioxide emissions in long term and ensures an environmentally friendly approach to supply chain management. And of course, those customers are our typical Pepperl+Fuchs customers here. So like in the next example, I think that company is quite known. So it's Mercedes-Benz, the large German car manufacturer. And those guys are using the sensor for level monitoring of their containers within the production areas. So the containers were equipped with the Wilson sensors. You can see it here. The sensors are mounted on the top of the container lid. There's a little hole in the lid, and the sensor is looking through, measuring the actual filling level of the containers. But they are not only measuring the filling level, but also the GPS information. So where is the container located within the factory? And the benefit, of course, is that they are able now to emptying those containers to the actual demand. And by this, they achieve increase of efficiency and transparency, saving of costs. What you can see here on the dashboard is the plant and where the containers are located and what's the current filling level of those containers are. All right, another target group, smart environment. So Felix already showed you the sensor in the TTN overview. Global climate change is threatening the habitats of wildlife. So the sensor monitors the levels of rivers, lakes, flood basins, and thus provides early warning of impending disasters. And more and more customers of ours, more and more cities are quite interested about such solutions. So here we have an example from one of our customers. It's the Berger Group. Berger Group is a mechanical engineering company located directly on the river Wupper in Wuppertal, Germany. And in the past, the company was repeatedly surprised by floods. So major damage was caused, and Berger was therefore looking for a solution to receive early warning of floods. And so they installed 18 Wilson sensors. So those are they installed the 4-meter version of the sensor as well as the new 7-meter version. I will show you some pictures of the sensor later. And the sensors are usually installed, for example, under bridges. So here you can see one of the sensors under a bridge looking down on the water and measuring the water level, or here below behind that obstacle here is another sensor installed. And all that measurings, all that data will be provided as a basis for a flood warning system. Means that Pepperl+Fuchs here is the supplier of the water level data, but there are also other partners included in that project. For example, they provide the project with weather data, heavy rain warnings, all this information. And all this comes together in the flood warning system so that warnings can be provided at an early stage. If you would like to have a little bit more insight about this project, please feel free here to scan the QR code again. It leads you to the dashboard that the flood warning system is on, and you can see the live water levels of the Wupper here in this dashboard. So at a glance, so what are the USPs now that we are offering with our Wilson Sonic level? First of all, we have this Wilson app. So the Wilson sensor, by using that app, can be put into operation easily. So that's, from my point of view, a really big benefit for our users. Then, on another hand, we have those one size fits all. So our ultrasonic transducer can be configured extensively by using the app, for example, for measuring for a high measuring quality. So that's another big benefit. Then our ultrasonic transducer is coated in a PTFE protective film, means that dust and dirt cannot stick to the sensor, and the Wilson sensor can measure reliably. And one example for that, we have one Wilson customer. It's a German foundry. They have containers in the factory where dust from the production processes is collected, and the customer installed Wilson sensors to detect these levels. And he was thrilled, actually, because the dust does not stick to the ultrasonic transducer. And previously, the customer had to clean the sensors every 3 to 4 days, but with this now will not longer be necessary in the future. So another big benefit for those kind of customers. And of course, last but not least, we have more than 70 years of sensor experience. We have a really tight distribution network. So if you are located somewhere in Europe, for example, you have a problem with the sensor, we are able to support you in best case at your place, at your location. So actually, we are at your site, and we are developing the projects together with you.
Great. Yeah, it's a really interesting side note that you have actually you have operational overhead. You can introduce extra operational overhead by automating a system, which then comes with its own pitfalls, right? Dust covering, who would think about what kind of coating I need on my sensor for my specific environment? And I believe this is something, yes, you can, it comes with the experience in your vertical to figure out that this is actually something which is required, and then feed it into an iteration, which probably this iteration on design iteration on this sensor, it has been done probably before LoRaWAN even appeared in the market. Or is this something, this experience, it's not something which came up with LoRaWAN, right? This is what Pepperl+Fuchs already did,
Totally.
has done quite before that, right?
That's completely true, Felix. Yeah. So this kind of technology we're using for more than 30 years with our ultrasonic sensors, for example. So that's something that's not completely new for us. What's new for us here is really the battery operating sensor, the LoRaWAN, all that standalone applications. So that's something new for us. And all what we are quite well, what we gained a lot of experience in the past, of course, is all the measuring. How is the measuring working, and so on. So that's what we are really good at, actually.
And you mentioned that you always have contacts nearby. It doesn't matter where you are. Of course, like you have more than 7,000 employees, but this is also a partner network of local integrators who you work with, or is this all Pepperl+Fuchs' own team?
We have both, actually. So we have our sales engineers in the field. They are able to support you, of course, but we have also system integrators in the field, of course. They also know the sensor quite well, and they can help you as well, of course. So both options are possible. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, great. Because yeah, we'll circle back after the presentation a bit on integrators, and I'm curious to hear your take. I've seen already the first questions pop up in the chat. Again, we will collect them and I will ask them at the end of the presentation. But yeah, again, be invited and share your comments, share your thoughts. Maybe something we should elaborate on if it's not a direct question. We will have definitely some time to go over that. But yeah, back to you, Daniel.
No problem. So yeah, let's give you a little a little look on the planning from Pepperl+Fuchs. So what's coming next, LoRaWAN wise? We're currently working on our 7-meter version of the sensor. So for examples, for applications like silos or water level monitoring. And you can see on the right side, there's a sensor installed over a river in Eastern Germany. So that's a sensor what many customers are interested in right now, actually. Another one is the Wilson 2.5 meter version, where the transducer having a thread means that there's a 2-inch male thread for easy installation in the lid of IBC tanks. That you are able to monitoring the filling level as well as the localization via GPS of those IBC tanks. That's a request mainly from our industrial customers actually. And last but not least, what's pretty cool from my point of view is the Wilson valve. This sensor is not having any ultrasonic transducer included, but here we plugged in our inductive sensors, our inductive Namur sensors. And as you can see, those inductive sensors are looking on this little activator here. We have 2 designs here. So we have this one with 2 inductive sensors M18, or this one with the inductive sensor F31K. And how is it working now? So if that activator is having little metal plates included, as you can see, and if that metal plate is in front of the inductive sensor, we are able to detect that. Means that this sensor will be installed on the top of those hand lever valves, especially at our chemical customers. And if somebody is operating now this hand lever, we are able to detect that. So we know if the valve is open, if the valve is closed, or if it's undefined, if this position is between those two. And this, as I said, is something that especially the chemical industry is highly interested right now, because they already have thousands of those valves, and the most important ones, of course, are monitored by sensors. However, those are wired sensors, which always results in high effort and cost. And thanks to our sensor, now it's not longer necessary. Our customer only needs a LoRaWAN network. The sensor will be launched at the end of the year. Then we have some firmware improvements in our pipeline. So we will launch our new firmware version 2.3 this month, next month. And here we have a downlink functionality included. That's something that our customers are looking for. And we also provide you with a browser-based downlink generator that helps you to generate your downlink. It looks always almost the same like the Wilson app, but it will be browser-based. We will have also browser-based calculator included to determine your battery life. The resolution of the sensor will be millimeter, and we have a minimum transmission interval of 10 minutes included. Also, we are working right now on the new transmit frequency 915 megahertz for the USA. So that's the presentation from my side at this point. And if you are interested in our Wilson sensors, if you would like to test the sensor, if you would like to get more information about the sensor, feel free to contact me, contact Felix for clarifying the next steps. I'm highly looking forward. And Another big thing that is coming up is that Pepperl+Fuchs will have a booth at the Things conference 2023 in Amsterdam. This year we are actually gold partner, and yeah, we have all the sensors with us. You can have a look in Amsterdam. So please feel free to come by, see us, and I'm really looking forward to meet you there in person. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks a lot, Daniel. Again, like a really interesting presentation. I've seen you also presented last year at the Things conference. You had the booth. I think you had one of the more interactive setups where you can actually test and play with valves and distance measurements. So if you want to see what has been shown now with the app, definitely come and visit us in Amsterdam. Great. So we had one question from Hakan in the chat, asking about the downlink functionality, and I think I know him already, and they are in the business of rolling out huge deployments and managing these. So of course, yes, an app is great. I can go and pilot, I can test and configure it without having to use a downlink generator to set up and schedule all of that messaging. Why is it important? The downlink messages, are they coming soon? You mentioned it just now on the roadmap.
Yeah, so downlink messaging is something that is not nice to have. So that's totally a must-have from my point of view, especially if we start to considering rollouts. And this is why we, with high pressure, working now to release those downlink functionality. And as I said, it will be available this month and or next month, around about that. So in Amsterdam, we will be able to have that in our portfolio. And yeah, so this is what we are working on right now.
Yeah, that's perfect. And especially, I'm quite excited. I haven't seen this battery life estimator yet, but I think that's extremely exciting, because imagine you could connect a sensor or a sensor fleet to the Think stack. You could use the network operations center monitoring exactly the spreading factors, the performance of my devices in relation to my gateways, which I've rolled out. So I've established my network, did my initial rollout, but now I'm looking at managing this over 10 years. So if I can estimate the battery life of my devices, I can not only, let's say, brute force for optimizing it and playing with the spreading factors, but I can actually with a very high resolution manage which sections of my deployment do I optimize for battery life for. Which sections do I say, okay, I tolerate that I have to replace the battery a little bit earlier, but it is really important that my sensors reliably communicate the sensor. So it just gives you a whole lot of control of how to set this up. And this is definitely one of the premium features which I've seen so far. I'm again, like, what I took away from your presentation is like, I love that it actually started with cellular devices for a pilot project, but then validating the business case doesn't necessarily need to validate the technology. We can separate these two. We can start with a GSM or cellular sensor, then actually have a second round of iterations. What technology, what radio technology is the best fit for my deployment? Decide or not decide that LoRaWAN is the right technology fit for it, and then reliably replace it, and without running the risk that it doesn't the actual business case doesn't work. Right, I see just another message pop up, another question from LinkedIn. It says, hi Felix, what type of downhole sensors would you recommend for a groundwater bore 50 to 70 meters in depth to measure the level? Thanks. Yeah, Daniel, I think you mentioned 7 meters, 4-meter versions. How would you approach such an installation?
Yeah, 40 to 70 meter, that's a lot, quite a lot. So what we are, as I said, what we are currently doing is that we are launching our 7-meter version now. It depends a little bit on the object you are looking. So the sensor is also able to measure distances up to 10 meters. So for water, for example, that should work. Yeah, as I said, it depends on the surface you are looking on. But as well, we are currently focusing more and more on radar technology. So then we would be able to achieve 15 to 20 meters then. And that's the next step we are working on. So everything above that is not possible right now at this point.
Yeah. No, and it's a really great question because it shows again, yeah, a borehole management is very different to an industrial site. So we would actually look into, okay, what sensor principle will support your application and which partner is the best fit. So 50 to 70 meters, I doubt that the actual water level will alternate between 50 and 70 meters. It will be a few meters. And let's say if your change of the water level is under 10 meters, the Wilson sensor is a great opportunity to lower the sensors actually to the top part of the expected water level and then utilize that state. Also, always have in mind, we are usually not interested in, let's say, this dashboard effect, right? Like visualizing a state is always very tempting. I have a great dashboard, but it has to be processable and actionable data. What do I actually want to know? I need to know if the water level is, for example, under a certain level so that I can ring the alarm bells for agriculture to reduce irrigation or other applications. I have to account for drinking water supplies maybe running low in certain areas. Or do I need to know if the water level rises over a certain point so I have underground structures being flooded? So this question is a great example for like, let's reverse engineer. What is my application? What am I actually interested in? Is it only this binary? I'm not going over 30-meter ground level, groundwater level, for example. And then we can position the sensor exactly in the point where it returns us the information we need. We can feed that via a gateway into the thing stack. And the payload can be forwarded then to your systems, which could be an alert to a local authority. It could be an alert to local utility companies who actually have means to address such problems. So we can build this end-to-end solution. And that is exactly where a network of integrators and strong partners comes in. Because yeah, Daniel and I, we are on top of, let's say, one component of an end-to-end solution. We spend all our energy in doing that very well. So if you can share again our business case collection here in the screen, which is interesting because now what we want to do is we want to continue focusing on this horizontal element, do that very well, and lean on our partners to know their sectors, their expertise. I want to work with an irrigation sector. Let me quickly check if I am visible with the business case collection. Because what I would invite you as listeners to do is, yeah, go to the business case collection. We will share the links in the comment and in the description of the video, but it is in the end business.thethingsindustries.com. And you can search here for your vertical. So we just have the question. So let's pick this up, smart irrigation. So we can actually look into that, open that case, and we can learn about how this case works, what impact it has, and with what sensors and partners we can address it. You've already seen also the outlook from Daniel, which we've seen now emerge in the industrial industry, that the valve state monitoring is something which in the chemical industry is now gaining attention. And that's also a perfect case. Like, I need to know that this part of my cooling system is open before I can start a machinery. And this is exactly where our partners come in. So you can use the virtual version of the business case collection here. But, and I think that is even more interesting, reach out to us in person. You've seen our contact information, but even better, get your tickets for the Things conference in Amsterdam. I actually had a lot of fun last year we had a huge smart city project. The project team, including their integrators, came to Amsterdam, and it really allowed me to take them by the hand, basically, introduce them to every possible partner to build a very strong, a very lean and high quality end-to-end solution. So yeah, Daniel, I'm sure you remember we came to your booth and we actually had a quite long chat about the sensor at use. I believe we're already, like, some sensors are in that smart city installed for testing already with LoRaWAN. And I hope we get the news in September that they've rolled out and scaled up, and maybe they can utilize the new downlink feature to then micro manage and control the network itself. And that is exactly what we aim at. So please, if you're interested, reach out to Daniel or myself. You can also get tickets directly via the website. But let's start the conversation today. It might be an awesome opportunity, since it's only June. Get your hands on the first setups, on the first sensor, on the first network server tenant. You can get this also for free on our website, thethingsindustries.com, where you can start connecting sensors free of charge to the discovery tenant. And with that learning experience, come and learn from us in Amsterdam. Yeah, Daniel, it was a pleasure to have you here. I'm really excited to continue the conversation. I know we have a few projects we're working on together. It's always been a pleasure. Thanks a lot for the detailed presentation. Super excited what Pepperl+Fuchs will come up next with, and let's see where you will, let's say, excel further in the next verticals, what LoRaWAN can conquer tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you, Felix, for the invitation, and yeah, looking forward as well for getting in touch with all you people.
Perfect. Great. One last announcement. You're probably watching either on YouTube or on LinkedIn. The recording will be available. If you are watching this later on, you can always use the sign up link in the comments, even after today. And we will send you the slides and some useful links as an email right away the moment you've signed up. So you have all the information. If you weren't fast enough to scan the QR code, if you say, oh, I'm actually right now on the beach and I will be back next week at the office, don't worry about it. Listen and enjoy. And once you come back, you can still sign up. And we will send you all necessary information, including our contact data, the videos, the dashboards, the slides. All of it will be available. So yeah, you can then follow up on your own time. Then, Daniel, I will let you enjoy the summer day. Thanks a lot, and I see you in Amsterdam.
Thank you. See you.